emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right. If you didn't know, now you know. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I sound like that old used car commercial. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch. Come join us. What you're going to hear is Husker sports, college football, sports in general. What you're going to get is unique insight, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Yep, that's right. It's a loaded show. Lots of notes, lots of things to talk about. We got the national championship game, the reffing, what in the world was going on. Great game. Phenomenal game. I was worried if Houston could even compete, and they looked like the flat-out better team. They led for over 59 minutes in that game, but not at the end. All right, we'll chat about that a little bit. Gino Auriemma. We have a clip from him, so we're going to play. How are you so good for so long, so dominant for so long? They aren't even, like, going undefeated through the season anymore, and that's kind of like a letdown. Oh, they're not undefeated. Oh, it must not be that good. Nope, they just keep winning national titles, knocking off number 1 seeds. We got a clip of his to play as well. You know, we haven't dug much into the Jordan versus LeBron debate, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on it today. I'm saving a lot of the NBA talk and the Major League Baseball talk and how I would fix college football. No, I haven't forgotten about that. Okay, but priorities, ladies and gentlemen. For the summer, most college sports end, College World Series, early June, okay? Baseball, softball, we got stuff to talk about, track, everything else. Spring football. In the summer, what you've got is the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, and then there's kind of a lull when it comes to college sports, Husker sports. That's the perfect time to discuss how Commissioner-to-be Adam Eugene Carriker. Did you know that was my middle name?
I did not.
I've always hated that middle name.
Is that really your middle name?
Yes. You're thinking mean things. You just don't want to say them.
No, that just sounds like a name that I would throw in there if I was going to make up a middle name.
I don't know what that means. Is that like a backhanded compliment or an in-your-face insult? I'm not sure. What? So I've never told people my middle name because when I was a kid, they'd make fun of me for it, and I got very sensitive about it. So I'll have you know that, Jake.
Oh, okay.
All right. Commissioner Adam Eugene Carriker would fix college football. All right, all those things will be this summer. But today we got the national championship game in college basketball. Gino Auriemma, Jordan versus LeBron. That's what I was getting to with that whole diatribe. I randomly came across this clip. All right. I always thought the Jordan versus LeBron debate was absolutely ridiculous. You know, for 20 years, they were doing this when LeBron was in his 20s. I'm like, this is so stupid. You got to fill time on air, don't you? ESPN. Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, everybody else over there. I was like, okay. It's still kind of ridiculous because LeBron's not done. And the answer to me is pretty obvious. But I came across this clip. It's an argument that I have not heard made in this way. So we're going to play it. We'll discuss it, but we can revisit it more in the summer. We can revisit it more, frankly, when LeBron retires and we have a full resume to compare to a full resume. Kent Pavelka, longtime Nebraska football, Nebraska basketball announcer over the years, one of the legends in this business, is going to join us at 11:30. All right, then we're going to talk about the top of the hour. Dane Key, give a Dane Key update. Emmet Johnson update. 2 minutes being prioritized quite a bit. Quite a bit. I do think, here's my prediction with the offense. We're going to start out all pro style and nicey nice and what we're supposed to do. I'm not even sure what that means. What we've been told we're going to do, which is this pro style offense, and eventually Holgerson's going to roll out there with like 3 and 4 wide receivers, what he really wants to do. Because first of all, we have the personnel to do it. I hope we have the quarterback to do it. If we have time to throw, I think it's just eventually going to happen, or it's going to happen at times, in particular in 2-minute situations. So Emmet Johnson, Dane Key updates, and a whole bunch of other things as well. All right. Right off the top, the national championship game. Houston, Florida, men's Final Four championship. Man, Houston was like, I felt like I was watching the Houston-Duke game in reverse. Like Duke was just ahead the entire game. And like I said, I think it was yesterday, they never could just pull away. Like it just felt like that game was on the verge of a blowout the entire time, but they could never just turn it into a blowout, which meant Houston was hanging around. Boom, Houston comes back in the last few minutes. They win. I was concerned going into yesterday's game whether that game would be close or not. Now, Houston, again, is the number 1 defensive team in the country. They have the number 1 overall rated defensive player in the entire country as well. So to me, that meant maybe they could keep it close, but I was like, man, I think Florida's better than Duke, and Duke about ran them off the court. Houston looked like the better basketball team for 59-plus minutes last night. Frankly, outplayed them. And who's the Gators' top player? Remind me there, Jake. You talked about it yesterday.
Clayton. Yeah, Will Clayton.
Walter
Clayton, excuse me.
Dude, their double teams were phenomenal. He had, 1 point at halftime? And they were stifling. At one point, both teams were combined 0 of 13 from three-point range. And about 10 minutes to go in the first half, the Gators had 6 turnovers. Houston had 0. Like that Houston defense was stifling. The game plan that Kelvin Sampson, the Houston head coach, came up with was phenomenal. Double teaming Florida's best player. Bill Belichick always said, you want to beat somebody really good, take away what they do best and make them beat you in a different area that they're not used to having success in. And that's exactly what Houston did. They made somebody else beat them. Now at the end of the game, Florida ended up winning, but I tell you what, it was a great game plan. All right, Jake. So Florida ends up winning 65-63. Great championship game. Great season for Houston. Great season for Florida. 2 best teams in the country, regardless of how I felt Duke looked versus Houston. Houston scored more points, and that's all that matters in that game. The 2 best teams in the country. By the way, I also have this theory, because conference realignment is not done. It may just be put off for a few years, 2031. I keep pointing to that year. But there's going to come a time when the Big Ten and the SEC try to take all the Big 12 teams and the ACC teams, and the ACC won't exist, and the Big 12 probably will. I think the Big 12 needs to go after all the basketball powerhouses and just become the number 1 basketball conference in America. Like, get Duke. I don't think the SEC and Big Ten want Duke. They want North Carolina. And NC State's kind of I can dive more into why in the summer, but they're going to, wherever North Carolina goes, NC State's going to go. It's because of all the tie-ins with the board and everything else. They're not going to want 3 schools from Carolina coming in, so grab Duke. UConn's not in the Big 12, are they? I know they were in the AAC after the Big East. They're not in the Big 12 yet, are they?
No, they were there was a close to a marriage, but I don't think it came through.
Dude, think about Duke in the Big 12. Think about UConn, men's and women's in the Big 12. Think about what the Big 12 already has, which is Houston and normally Kansas, easily one of the 8 blue bloods in college basketball. Actually ranked in baseball. We're going to play them in baseball this week. Kansas is number 22 in America in baseball. The Huskers are going to take them on. But I've always thought the Big 12 should just go after all these basketball powerhouse schools that the Big 10 and SEC aren't going to be as interested in and just become the number 1 basketball conference in America. The Big 12 is represented very well, winning national titles recently, getting to the Final Four recently. Houston, 3 straight years, they've been a number 1 seed in their own right. All right, Florida ends up winning the game. What are your thoughts here, Jake?
Well, it was somewhat of an ugly game. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it was.
There was some really good dunks in there. I was impressed by Houston's ability to get up. Kind of took you back, but it was kind of interesting because both these teams were just, whether it was that Duke game or you just seen, Houston's run, Florida's run, against UConn, they had to come back. These teams were just very clutch on their way to the championship game, and then the championship game comes around. In the final 2 minutes of that was somewhat messy. I mean,
somewhat.
Give Florida credit for coming back in. They ended up taking a lead on some free throws, on some fouls. Houston doesn't even get a shot up in the final 2 possessions. That last one's especially going to hurt.
Their final three possessions.
Well, in any case, I understand at that point that the final shot he thought might have been blocked or heavily contested. You got to get something up with 3 seconds left. So I mean, it was interesting. Like you said, Houston kind of led this whole way, but the 3-point shooting kind of combined with Houston had 5 assists the entire game.
That's not good if you're wondering.
That's really rough. I don't know how many
That's really
games,
rough.
There's not a lot of basketball games or teams that would expect to win, much less a championship game with 5 assists. So their offense was just as good as their defense was. Their offense was quite ugly at times, and a lot of that throughout the game. So it was kind of interesting, but I do think you're right. I think we had 2 of the best schools, 2 of the best teams here this year. You got to give the people that put this together a lot of credit. The selection committee, all number 1 seeds going to the Final Four. That means they were right. I still think Duke might have been the most talented team this year, but we just saw how it played out here. Florida now the only school in NCAA to have 3 college football championships and 3 college basketball championships.
Is Florida basketball now a blue blood? Because you brought that up yesterday that some people were like, oh, if they win again, they're a blue blood. Now, are they a blue blood?
I wouldn't go as far to say blue blood, but they are close, right? The 3 college part of the blue blood thing is that you've done it for, like UConn could break in because they've just won 5 titles since like 1999.
Yeah, it's crazy.
At some point, you're just like, okay, that's enough titles. You're a blue blood. But Florida has 3 since 96. So it's kind of interesting. Well, excuse me, 3 since 06. 3 college football championships since 96. So both in football and basketball, while they have while they're the only school to win 3 in each, they've done it somewhat recently. So again, blue blood kind of depends on how you want to look at it, but they tie Villanova with the 8th most titles of all time. Is Villanova a blue blood? You kind of get into that discussion. The teams ahead of them definitely are in the championship list. The only teams ahead of them are Kansas with 4 titles, Indiana and Duke with 5 titles, North Carolina and UConn with 6, Kentucky with 8, and UCLA with 11. So if they're not a blue blood, they are knocking on the door as much as anybody.
Are they a blue blood in football?
Again, I wouldn't quite go blue blood, knocking on the door.
So while you were talking, first of all, to a couple of your points, I thought you made some good points. If we have chaos in the NCAA tournament, which is what people really want. That's what people want from the NCAA. Then when I think of the March Madness, it's not called March Madness because you want all the higher seeds to win, like the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds. You want chaos. Okay, you want McNeese to actually not just win the first round, upset Purdue, get in the Sweet 16. Here we go. This is fun. But the converse of that, because people are like, oh, no upsets, no nothing. But when you get chaos, then you're like, oh, the committee's a bunch of idiots. They don't know what they're doing. Now the committee gets it right. Now we whine there's no chaos. So they just can't get it right, can they, Jake? Whether they get it right or get it wrong, they just can't get it right. It doesn't matter. Duke, to your point, was not only probably the most talented team, they were the tallest team as well. All right, in the entire NCAA tournament. You think about college football blue bloods. As you were writing, or as you were talking, I was writing, and I'm missing somebody. So here are the ones I came up with for college football blue bloods. And I think it's pretty easy in basketball who the blue bloods are. You pretty much listed them from UCLA to Indiana, Kentucky to Kansas and North Carolina. I think UConn's got to be on there now as well. Who else was right ahead of Florida?
You said so Kansas, Indiana, Duke, North Carolina, UConn, Kentucky, and UCLA, yeah.
Duke, and I don't know if I said Kentucky. Yeah, so there's your 8 in basketball. I think Florida's like knocking on the door just outside. Okay. All right, so in football, I've got USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Gag Me You. Who am I missing?
Oklahoma?
Ooh, there's the 8th. Okay. I knew there was 8, and I'm like, I can only think of I thought of Gag Me You and not Oklahoma. What the heck is wrong with me today? All right. So, because there's 8 blue bloods. So Florida, you have just on the outside. Miami just on the outside. Florida, all those 3 Florida schools just on the outside. What about like a Penn State or a Tennessee? Penn State. Would they be a blue blood, or they need more titles overall? I would think.
Yeah, and
they've got 2.
I think
believe
Penn State, as much as anybody's knocking on the door in the football discussion, so I'd put them there. Obviously, different ways to look at that, how that program got to that level to begin with. But it's I always look at Penn State and Tennessee kind of knocking at the door, and I think you got to put Georgia, who has 3 total titles in the last couple of years, is starting to knock on that door too. Still would hold off on calling them a blue blood, but I think they're kind of one of the kind of the movers as of late.
So for years, I remember there was an 11-year stretch where Florida beat them 10 out of 11 years. Like for years. In fact, when I was interviewing Goldberg one time and I mentioned, you're just Florida's little brother. He got pissed. He did not react well to that on the interview. Dude, he did not like that. And that's exactly the reaction I wanted, by the way. Because we were doing like a wrestling type show. So it was supposed to be a little bit of a promo battle. He insulted me in some way. And I was like, all right, you're nothing more than just Florida's little brother. Don't give me that crap. And then it was fun. And he got mad. And then it was more fun for me, not so much for him. But my point is simply this. I've always seen Florida is just above Georgia. Okay. And if Florida is just outside the blue blood, I always saw Georgia just below there because they were missing the championships and the ability to beat Florida. Now they've beaten Florida and they've got the championships too, right?
3 total. Yeah.
3 overall. Go back to 1980, right? Or was it 80 or 82?
I believe it was 80.
It was 80 because Penn State won in 82. That's right. Okay. And then they also upset Miami and Vinny Testaverde in 88 in that Fiesta Bowl. That was Notre Dame. Which year was the Fiesta Bowl with Penn State and Notre Dame? Was that 87? Because in 88, Miami won the Catholic versus Convicts game. Or Notre Dame won that game. Then they ended up winning the national title. I think it was the 87 year. And they won the Fiesta Bowl that year. I don't know if it still is. But up until the college football playoff era started, that Fiesta Bowl, that 1 versus 2 matchup, Miami-Penn State, was the most viewed bowl game of all time. I have not updated it since college football playoff started in 2014, but I know up until then it was. I always looked at Georgia and I was like, you're just below Florida and Florida's just outside. Now they're above Florida and they're beating Florida. They got, you say 3 titles. Florida has 3 as well. Is that correct? Yeah. Do you know the last school? It's going to be easy because I literally just said their name. The last school to win a national title for the first time. Give me the year. It was Florida. Can you give me the year?
That would have been 96.
96. They're the last school to win a national title for the first time. Everybody else is now repeat, or they've done it before since 1996, which I thought was a very random yet interesting stat. So now they have matched Florida. So to me, they're right there with Florida, just outside that blue blood. Because that's where, like you said, the consistency over time has to step in. That's what's helped Nebraska. For 20 years, we haven't played like a blue blood, okay? But for 40 plus years, we did something nobody else did do, which is win 9 games or more. So it's that consistency, sustained success over time. And I think Georgia is knocking on the door because they are the preeminent college football program in the country right now. And they probably have been for like 5 years. All right. Any final thoughts on this? Oh, the whole ref thing. It was interesting. My wife was pretty fired up because all of a sudden the refs started calling way more. Houston was kind of owning Florida with their defense. As ugly as the game was, you got to understand, you're going to score 65 points and play god-awful on offense, just like Florida did and win the national title. So to me, if you have a bad night offensively, I couldn't care less in basketball. I don't give a crap about these half-court threes, fancy dunks I love. I'm more interested in the guy who chases somebody down and gets the block, which Houston did. Or you get multiple blocks, or a guy's going up for a dunk and he gets stuffed by the defender. I get entertained by that. Oh, another basket made. Okay, cool. All right. I want to see something else that you don't see all the time. So an ugly basketball game is fun for me to watch because that adds elements that I don't always see every game that I watch in my entire life outside of elementary school basketball. So for me, that's part of the reason I thought it was so entertaining was because there was nerves in the beginning. Terrible shooting, great defense. It was kind of ugly, and that made it entertaining for yours truly. I don't know. Do you enjoy that in basketball, or you just want all the fancy smancy stuff?
I like high-level basketball. Football, I love a 6 to 9 football game. Those are that's kind of the opposite. So I like that in football. And basketball, it always comes back to me when there's this one friend that does it. He'll walk into the room and he'll just like bring me down. I'm watching college basketball. Within 2 minutes, he doesn't know the difference, but he can see the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like one of those where it's like, this is the best that college basketball has to offer. And I know if he walked in the room, he could tell me, oh, this is college, isn't it? Yeah, this is college. It doesn't quite look like the pros. But so I prefer, a better game, but it doesn't always happen. And so sometimes you gotta fight those out.
Your words, high level, better game. Mine was fancy smancy, more entertaining. See how we view things a little bit differently there when it comes to basketball. My wife got pretty fired up because at a certain point, all of a sudden the refs they started calling the game differently. Within 9 seconds in the second half at a certain point, Houston had 3 fouls called on them, and all of a sudden they weren't allowed to be. It's like they started calling the game in a completely different way. Instead of letting them play, all of a sudden they were calling everything. And then that dramatically affected and impacted Houston. And the conspiracy theorist in me was like, oh, got to have the SEC win. Here we go. Is there anything to that? Or am I just too anti-SEC? And I'm really not that anti-SEC at this point. What I am is pro-honesty. And I feel like their ego is so big they can't fit their fat head through a room, and I like poking holes in it. By the way, it allows them to fit their fat head in the room once I poke holes in it. So it's not anti-SEC. It's pro-honesty and pro-accountability. But is my pro-honesty, pro-accountability, anti-SEC bias reigning a little too supreme here for my own conspiracy theorist head here?
I would say probably. I mean, again, the refs can do all they want to. If Houston had a chance to get a couple shots up and they didn't at the end, so I don't think they completely swung the game there. And but I do think there is something more to that. Years and years ago, it used to be, the ESPN's College Game Day is given too much coverage to the SEC, and we're all under this umbrella that college football worked as a whole. We understood the SEC and the Big Ten had more attention on it, and fan bases that cared a little bit more. But post-COVID and into this new era, all that stuff, there's a clear separation between the SEC and the Big Ten and everybody else. So now I think there's a little bit more to that conspiracy, because I do think that played a factor in Florida State not making the college football playoffs 2 years ago, absolutely undefeated, because they had to get an SEC team in there, not simply because it was Alabama, but because the SEC is the money league. And so I think there's something a little bit more to that conspiracy, though. I've always been a little bit, I enjoy the SEC. I'll put it that way.
I guess we can still be friends, even though you said you enjoy the SEC. I will say this: as a conference as a whole, the SEC has as passionate of fans when it comes to football as any conference in the country. Like I said, they're a good conference. I'll give them their due. It's when they walk around like they're the NFL of college football, or they're just the greatest thing that God's ever created. That's when I'm like, all right, just sit down and shut up, because I'm tired of that crap. Because it's not true to that level. There's a certain level. Like again, Creighton can go to the Final Four, then that's enough. All right, the SEC is good, but let's not go too far. That's enough of that crap. All right. Should we play Gino's clip real quick before we head into break and call Kent Pavelka?
Yeah, let me. Oh man.
Or
okay.
we
maybe on the other end here.
Or we can go to break and call Kent and play the clip.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
All right.
I don't see it right in front of me.
Jake's unprepared.
That's right.
That's right.
I have to fall in the sword on this. This was me.
No, you're good. You're good. I tend to send him stuff. It's usually about 90 minutes before the show, clips I want to play, but he's a busy man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we will chat with the legendary Kent Pavelka. After that, we will play a couple of clips. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Authentic Mexican food is not always easy to find, but you can find it in Lincoln at Tacos Los Hermanos. Their birria tacos are worth the drive from anywhere in town, but their chicken, chorizo, al pastor, and asada tacos are also worth the trip. You can also try any of those meats in a burrito or quesadilla. You won't find a better toppings bar in the area or better dessert options. If you can't get there, don't worry, they do deliver as well. Stop by Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock Streets in Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln. Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall, Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com, because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Hey volleyball fans, this is Laura Dijkema, National Player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Now's the perfect time to get even stronger at Planet Fitness. Save $28 or more when you join today for just $1 down, $15 a month. Mix up your routine or create a customized workout plan with free fitness training. That's right. Certified trainers, unlimited sessions with best-in-class equipment. Plus, there's over 2,700 convenient locations to choose from, with most open 24 hours. Save $28 or more today when you join Planet Fitness for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends April 11th. See Home Club for details.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When your home fills up with family, Allo Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Allo Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
$93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies and it will be breezy with the high around 64. Tonight, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly cloudy, a low around 45. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly sunny and breezy with the high near 72. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm happy and very excited at this time to be joined by the legendary Mr. Kent Pavelka. This man called Nebraska football games 1974 to 1996 as one of the most legendary calls some of the most legendary calls, plural, in all of college and Nebraska football history. Also, Nebraska basketball 74-96, and then 06 up until present day. Mr. Kent Pavelka, how you doing, my friend?
Good, Adam. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Dude, life is good. Life is glorious. Talk to me about, let's talk about the season as a whole for Nebraska basketball. All right. They get a bunch of ranked wins, don't make the Big Ten tournament, rough end of the season until you go to the Crown tournament, then they win 4 straight. Talk to me about this season as a whole. You're there for each and every game. You're calling the action. What's your takeaways from this entertaining season?
Well, I think that obviously getting to the Crown and winning it put a whole different taste in everybody's mouth than what you walked out of the PBA with after the Iowa win. I mean, that's just night and day. But the thing that kind of bothers me is the public perception from a lot of people, not everybody, but that this wasn't a very good team. They didn't make the Big Ten tournament, yada, yada, yada. And, close games, I know they don't mean anything, but they really do. I mean, you look at 2 shots, 2 field goal attempts, a make by an opponent in that last 5 or 6 games, and a miss by Nebraska. You got one more win, and I'll tell you, I think Nebraska's in and good enough to win an NCAA tournament game. And, then all the talk is how great this team was instead of how disappointing they were. But they put a different flavor in our mouths as a result of winning that thing in Vegas. But they're a good basketball team. He's got good talent. And now you got to restock the shelves a little bit because we're losing some good ones.
Talk to me about how you think, because you mentioned the end of the season, they lose 4 or 5 games in a row to end the season, miss the Big Ten tournament. That's a lot of frustration, no doubt about it. But how was Fred able to, because they had a little bit of time off there, and sometimes a team can come back from time off better for the time off or worse from the time off. Obviously, Fred got them going in the right direction. How do you think Coach Hoiberg was able to turn things around? And they were down by 14 at one time in that Arizona State game. They were down by double digits in the championship game. Something from the inside of that locker room, from a culture standpoint, was turned around during that off time. How do you think Coach Hoiberg was able to do that?
Well, first of all, Bryce Williams and the seniors told him right away they wanted to play. And I don't know that everybody in that tournament wanted to play. And we pretty much had an intact roster, pretty much, compared to some of the others. We had a very intact roster. And those 2 seniors, Bryce and Jawan, were absolutely intent on winning this thing. And I think the rest of the players followed them. And you get down 12-14 in that last game, and it didn't look good. And I think, all that energy that I just described is what they drew on at that point. And, boy, it was a fun game to broadcast at that point on.
I got to ask you, Ken, too, because as we close this up with those 2 seniors, obviously they leave a big legacy here. Juwan bring that MVP home, but Bryce Williams specifically, how is his career kind of compared to others that you've covered here at Nebraska over the years? Because man, he was a joy to watch. It would have been nice to have him, all 4 years, but of course that's not how college basketball generally works these days. But man, was he a joy to watch, and just money on the line when Nebraska need him here in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you alluded to it. If he had been here more than 2 years, I think that he walks away with unanimous support as one of the best all time. I think he is one of the best all time. But if you play just 2 years, you don't have a chance to make that kind of impact you do if you're there longer. I think he's a pro. He's a delightful guy. I mean, I really enjoyed being around him these last 2 years, and he's as good. He's worthy of being mentioned in the consideration for the starting 5 and the all-time best Husker basketball players. I don't know that he's nailed it, but he's right up there for sure.
All right, talk to me about Connor Essegian. All right, he was tied for the leading point scorer in that championship game versus UCF. Him and Bryce Williams. All right, Juwan Gary had 20 points. Connor had 21 along with Bryce. Talk to me about Connor really stepping up during the Crown tournament, especially during that championship game. This is a guy who's going to be back playing for the Big Red again next year. Husker fans are going to look forward to watching him. But What do you think helped him step up in that Crown tournament, and how much of an impact or improvement do you think he can even make going forward into next year?
I just think it was the tempo of the game and the way the ball was moving around and the looks he got were really, really good. He is a laser, as they call him. He is that good a shooter. And the other thing about him is I've talked to him a couple of times, and there's no question he wants to be here. And he'll be here all summer with his brother. His brother's a student manager on the team. And he's going to put in the effort to even get better for next year. But he is a laser from outside. And I think, I don't have the stats in front of me from the game on Sunday, but he was real close to tying Keisei Tominaga for the eighth most threes in a single season. And I think he did it on Sunday. So considering the minutes he played compared to Keisei, he was a really valuable piece this year, and he will be even more so next year.
I could be wrong. I know Jake's got a question. I think Connor had 78, Keisei had 76. We could double check that, but I know Jake had a question. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I know there was a concern, too, among Husker fans as the transfer portal opened during the tournament, Nebraska being out there, that they might, that might be kind of tough for Fred to do. And then we saw, a bunch of pictures of Fred on the phone on the internet, which was kind of fun. But obviously, they've done a good job. Of course, the latest bringing Jamarcus Lawrence back home. How big of a difficulty do you think that was to handle both things there for Fred while he was in Vegas?
Well, I think there's a lot of stress, man. But he gets paid pretty good per hour, doesn't he, Jake? Anyway, yeah, he had a lot of balls in the air, including me bugging him 2 or 3 times a day, or at least once a day to do our pregame show. But I think they weathered it. Obviously, they won the thing. I'm really excited about the names, the guys that they have committed, and they're working on some others I know that are going to be really good ads. And when you think about who's coming back, a lot of people forget Rink Mass is coming back next year. And, if you want to talk about additions to the team next year that weren't here this year, he might be the best so-called recruit that we have. I mean, he was so valuable last year. And I think with the bigs that are going to complement him and what they're going to put around him, I'm hope springs eternal. It has for 50 years for me. So I'm hanging in there with them.
What are your thoughts on the 2 transfer portal commits they currently have at this point in time from Iowa, Price Sanford, and then all-MAC performer, from Central Michigan, Ugnias Juravicius, otherwise known as Ugi. I hope I came close to saying that right, but he's from Lithuania transferring here to Nebraska. What are your thoughts on these 2 guys that have coming in so far?
Well, one thought I have is that you got his name down and I don't.
Oh, well, I hope I'm close.
I'm gonna he's Oogie to me,
okay.
And because if he and Buchtenzel are in the game at the same time, I'm screwed, what I mean? Back and forth to those 2 guys. But I think, look at his stats. And I looked at some video, he's a guy that can stretch the floor like Rink. And so, he can shoot it. He had a really good season. I think he's going to be, when you look at what's leaving versus what he adds coming in, I think they're going to be better at the 4 or 5 spots. Price Sanford is a jewel. And I remember the game at Iowa during a timeout. I turned to Jake Muleisen and said, I wish we had one of the 2. Looked at the Sanford brothers; they're both on the floor. I said, "Why can't we get a guy like that? Those guys." And they recruited Price really hard, to bring him in as a freshman. And he's a great story. Sometime if we have time, I'll tell you about his family and the connections with Nebraska, and a story that after the Iowa game he and Peyton stopped me. We had a conversation, but he's a laser as well. Shoots it that well. And you forget about Frager and Jankowski, and they've got some more guys coming. So I think they're going to be deep with guys that can play.
All right, I got to ask you, as a broadcaster, it's been, obviously it's been great listening to you all my, growing up and all that. So I love listening to your voice. But I got to make you pick between your kids. Matt Davison was really good alongside you. Jake Muleisen has definitely stepped up. So I got to make you pick between your kids here.
I'm not going to do that. Maddie and I had a great run. I love him, and Jake is the best. And so is Matt. I can't make that choice, man. They both, we had different kinds of chemistry, I think. We had some great times off the air, believe me, too. Times that, private stuff.
How about this? Because every time I interview, I think I brought you on about this time last year as well. I always want, because you have covered these sports and covered games for so long, legendary career. When you think back to basketball and football over the years, what are some of your favorite moments and or favorite games that you've been able to have the privilege to call?
Well, for football, it was that 3 straight games that they played for the national championship. I mean, they just are indelible. And, the Byron missed the field goal that would have beat Florida State. And we're right there. I mean, that was a moment for me. And then the next year beating Miami, Schlesinger with the 14-yard run, whatever it was, 2:46 to go, bring that trophy back to Lincoln. That was electric and chills me right now thinking about it. And then the dominant victory over Miami, Steve Spurrier, and the run and gun. I said the run is done, or whatever it is. I had a pretty good comment on that blowout. But those 3, but there were so many games, even back in the 70s and 80s in the booth with Bremser before I sat in the play-by-play chair. Just what happened usually was you'd win 9-10 games and, more often than not, play Oklahoma and lose and play Miami and lose, You remember that, Adam, and Jake, you do too. And then, they turned the corner on that. And so then in basketball, man, there's so many more games and so many relationships that are way closer than I developed in football. Because you travel with them and you're with them all the time. And, man, it's just been a sweet, sweet thing.
Talk to me about, if you can, all right, the 1996 winning the NIT championship and the crown this year. Obviously, there's some similarities. Obviously, there's going to be a different type of tournament. But how similar is it to you in your mind, and what type of impact do you think it can have for this team going forward?
Well, I think that 96 team was more talented. Mikey Moore played in the NBA for a long time, and Teron Lou was on that team. I mean, and that was the team that kind of turned on Danny midway through the season. They lost 9 or 10 straight games, and then they had a come to Jesus meeting, and they banded together, and that was what was remarkable. That turnaround to win that NIT, and I think that was a Sweet 16 team. I really do, talent-wise. This team, way more talented than people give them credit for. And like I talked about earlier, just the near misses in those last 6 games, and to turn it around. I mean, we wouldn't be having this conversation if they hadn't gone to Las Vegas. Everybody wanted to bury that season after March 9th, walking out of the Iowa game. I think, what'd you say about next year, Adam?
How do you think it can impact the team going forward into next year?
Well, yeah. I mean, the guys coming back are going to have that experience, and I think that's valuable. But the key, I think, going forward in college basketball, and probably to a lesser degree, but to a significant degree in football as well, is, every year you got to put a new team together. And, so that makes the summer so important. And that's what's fun for me, to go down and watch them when they get there and meld together. I think you've got to be, as a coach, a guy like they in the NBA, when there's team players are going back and forth and changing jerseys. So I mean, that's kind of what's happens year to year now in basketball. And Fred's got a really good ability to do that, because he's had that exact experience in the NBA. So. I don't have any doubt that they'll put a good product on the floor next year. We'll wait and see. Maybe next year's the magic year with the NCAA and a victory, and I can drop the mic.
That'd be awesome. Well, hold on. Drop the mic. What does that mean? Is that the R word? What does that mean?
I just think that would be sweet way to go out, wouldn't it? Just literally drop the mic and walk away.
Well, I could respect that if we win the NCAA tournament, and that's your choice. I could obviously respect that. Here's one thing I got to throw out there, and then I don't know if Jake has another question or not, but how many tackles can one man break? I'm just going to put that out there. All right, Jake, you got any questions?
Well,
any more?
The question that's been asked all week is should they raise the banner for this one? But to go in a little bit more deep and more serious about it, I always thought they should, kind of celebrate Nebraska's history. I know they haven't won NCAA tournament games, but we see different, like Iowa football hang up 1900 Big Ten championship
that
banners.
Was fake, by the way.
So maybe not
fake news.
Ones. Maybe not fake ones, but should there be more banners in general hanging in pinnacle Lake Arena? Yeah,
Jake, I couldn't agree more, and I hope they really do something about it. Now, I don't know about PBA being not university property and how that would work in terms of objections to put more banners up, but they've got some up now already. Every arena we walk into is loaded with a feel of history of the various programs in the Big Ten, and we should do that at PBA. I mean, you could have a Hall of Honor kind of thing that would be maybe just a little, recognize players that were really good contributors that maybe are a little less insignificant than the guys whose jerseys are retired. And there are plenty of players to recognize, and just needs a little creativity and somebody in the athletics department to put it together. I think it would enhance the ambiance, which is also already out of sight at PBA for Nebraska games.
All right, my friend, I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for joining us.
Jake, Adam, thank you guys.
All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
I'm Chief Dave Engler. When a fire truck hits a pothole with 12 tons of fast-moving equipment and crew, it's a problem. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue Lincoln's quarter-cent sales tax for street improvements. A vote against eliminates the street funding. A vote for will not raise your taxes and keeps the funding in place. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com.
We use our Lincoln streets every day, and so do first responders. But visitors and out-of-town commuters also do. A quarter-cent sales tax for streets passed by voters in 2019 makes those commuters pay about $6 million a year to improve streets. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue it. A vote against means no more funds from commuters. A vote for will not raise your taxes, and commuters still pay. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com. Paid for by the City of Lincoln.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Dane Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Dane Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Make plans to stop by Corn Coast Brewing this Saturday, April 12th for their Ales Helping Tales event, partnered with Parkview Animal Hospital. This semi-annual fundraiser collects donations and sells raffle tickets to raise money for Vets Get Pets, a program in the Nebraska Department of Veteran Affairs that helps with adoption fees for veterans. A special beer will be brewed, and the first 100 customers who buy the beer will receive a special edition Stadium Cup. That's all this Saturday at Corn Coast Brewing at 14th and Yankee Hill.
Lincoln's go go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The top of the hour is just around the corner. We're going to dive into some Nebraska football. Dane Key, Emmet Johnson updates. Also, Marcus Satterfield. I wonder if he's talking about yards per play. Is that a press conference right now? Also, our linebackers coach, Dvorak. Was that an unnecessary shot?
I think Dana Holgerson took one earlier, so that
makes it okay. One guy does it, so everybody can jump off the bridge.
Okay,
I jumped off the bridge. I apologize, Marcus. You shook my hand, looked me in the eye like a man, so that's on me. All right, we got a clip from Gino Ariama now. 883 all-time win percentage since became UConn's head coach in 1985. Number one amongst all college coaches with the minimum of 10 seasons. All right. And let's see here. 19 undefeated conference regular seasons there at UConn. 6 undefeated overall seasons. You know how hard it is to go undefeated in football, let alone basketball, let alone do it 6 freaking times? It's crazy. 8 Coach of the Year awards. 30. Let me see here. Won more than 30 Coach of the Year awards in total, but 8-time National Naismith College Coach of the Year and a 12-time national champ as of this year. All right, we got a clip. Go ahead and roll that clip there, Jake.
Do you really think that if we practice a certain way every day, and it's here, that when we get to the Final Four, we're going to play here? You're hoping we get lucky then. But if we practice here every day, and when we get to the Final Four, it's going to drop. There's no way you can practice at peak or play at peak performance under that kind of pressure. It's not possible. So you'll drop. But where we'll drop is still at a higher level than everybody else, provided we practice at that level, train at that level every day.
So there's a video with this. You couldn't see the video. So he's talking about practicing here, wanting to play here. My hand just went higher if you can't see me for listening on podcast or on the radio. But he's like, you need to practice here. He places his hand even higher in the video because what's inevitably going to happen is there's going to be more mistakes in big-time games. People are going to nerves. But if your play drops, but you're used to practicing at a higher level, okay, it's almost impossible to, like, there's things you should be able to do perfectly in practice, especially things you do on air. Well, the situation changes. So if you have such a high demand and a high level that you practice at, all right, the game should almost be that much easier based on what you're used to. And again, I alluded to this before. Sometimes people are like, no, the games are won on Saturdays, or the games are won on whatever the game day is. I'm like, no, the game was won a long time ago. The results are played out on game day. And so that's what he's talking about. So folks who are like, oh, it's okay to miss here and it's okay to miss there and it's okay to miss this and I got an excuse for that. That type of crap drives me nuts because anytime I miss, I feel like I'm falling behind. Like I've always felt that way. If I miss something, I'm falling behind and then I feel like I got to make it up. And that's just to get even with everyone else. Then how do I get my edge? So that's always how I always looked at it. Now, life happens. Emergency, sickness, nothing you can do about that. But as far as this little thing here getting in your way or not going as hard on this particular day or I'm just going to save it a little bit here, unless you're legit hurt or there's an emergency or a sickness, like that's what he's talking about is practicing at a certain level. So it's that much easier to play at a high level as well. And by God, I mean, it doesn't matter if they're a 1 seed, undefeated, or if they're a 2 seed. They've knocked out the 3 seed in their region of the NCAA bracket 3 years in a row, which is why I predicted them to beat USC. Because USC was the number 1. They were the number 2 in their region of the bracket. Then they beat USC. Then they mollywopped UCLA. Then they destroyed South Carolina. 3 straight number 1s. They just ran over like a Mack truck. It was crazy. The guy knows something. All right. You got any final thoughts on that? You want to roll into LeBron versus Jordan? Again, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this. I just thought the argument was so unique. I hadn't heard this entire argument this way before. We'll dive more into it again in the summer. NBA, Major League Baseball, and how in the world Commissioner Adam Eugene Carriker would fix college football will be more of our summer conversations. But this is just such a unique way of looking at this. I just wanted to play this clip. Before we do that, you got anything on Gino there?
No. I mean, you just take him for his word.
I mean, what are you going to
won 12 titles.
Yeah, what do you have? Okay, roll the argument for the GOAT debate between Jordan and LeBron, which I will admit, it's kind of crazy to have this debate because LeBron's still playing. But I just thought the argument was very intriguing. Go ahead.
I want to know if you still think MJ's the GOAT or if your stance has changed.
Do you think it's easier to score points in 2025 or in 1995 in the NBA?
I think it's easier to score points now, most definitely now.
Okay. So therefore, when we look at point totals of LeBron, we got to take that with an asterisk, right? When was the NBA more popular, 90s or today?
I think the NBA is more popular today.
No, it's not even close. NBA's gone down. It's a joke. The last 10 years, who's been the face of the NBA?
Like LeBron.
In the 90s, who was the face of the NBA?
Jordan.
Wait, so Jordan made the NBA more popular and LeBron made the NBA a joke?
No.
The NBA is on verge of collapse. No one wants to watch it. Crowd attendance is down. They got to give away free food. They got to give away free beer. The cable channels are like, basically no one wants to watch it. It's like a 3-point contest. No one plays defense. So the League of LeBron is going into a place of irrelevance. Jordan left the league at the highest ratings ever with a cultural phenomenon the way we've never seen before. When you go to the inner city, you go to Chicago, you go to Atlanta, do you say, hey, man, are you wearing Jordans? Or do you say, hey, are you wearing LeBrons? And I'll close with this. You know how you are the GOAT? You're the GOAT when you don't have to keep on playing till you're 40 and get your kid some sort of, special job just because you're a billionaire. That's how you know you're the GOAT. You're the GOAT where you're like, I just won 6. Thanks so much. I'm retiring. Thanks for playing. The GOAT knows he's the greatest and he doesn't have to keep on playing to prove it.
All right. Again, we'll keep this brief. We can dissect more of this in the summer. But what are your initial reactions to this? Because I agree with some of it, and frankly, I do disagree with some of it. But go ahead. What do you got, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on where you fall in the argument, I suppose. I would just say the NBA is not on the verge of collapse. I think that's pushing it a little bit far. So he used some things to as you do in debate, you kind of overstate some things. But I think those are some pretty strong points there that he has, at least on MJ's case. And I was surprised because this was on a college campus. The crowd mostly seemed to be pro MJ as opposed to maybe LeBron, who would think that maybe they'd be more excited about. But maybe they're tired of him moving around too. But LeBron for the Lakers is great for Lakers fans. Nobody else necessarily likes it.
So good point. So for me, I thought he made a lot of valid points. It was way harder to score in the 90s. Every game was more highly contested and everything was more competitive. Like all the stars played every game. There wasn't this load management and this and that. And then guys all of a sudden going hard in the playoffs. I guess they go hard in the playoffs. At least at some point they go hard. It seems to me like they take a lot of time off during the regular season, and that's when they're even on the court. So it's 1,000 times easier to score. Now, LeBron, number one all-time in NBA history in scoring, goes number one LeBron, number two Kareem. By the way, why is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar not talked about more in the GOAT debate? That's something I want to bring up later on. Because to me, it's not Jordan or LeBron, with all due respect to LeBron. It's Jordan or Kareem, in my opinion. But we can have that debate later. Karl Malone is third, Kobe Bryant fourth, Michael Jordan fifth. Now, LeBron played longer. He's still playing. Now, I don't know that longevity of a career is a negative thing. He almost tried to use that against LeBron. Like, well, you have to keep playing. Well, I don't know that he has to keep playing. He just is able to keep playing, and it's pretty freakish. All right, so I actually give LeBron credit for that. It does kind of skew certain stats and things of that nature because he's been playing longer. The defense, the competitiveness of the games, game in and game out, is not even close to the 90s. Okay, and the stacking of teams and things of that nature. For me, I just thought it was an interesting, unique way of looking at some of the things, all right, that I hadn't heard kind of brought into the conversation before. What I would say is I actually don't think it's a negative that LeBron's still playing. Yes, he got his son drafted to the Lakers. I think that's pretty much a given. Most people know. I don't think that's a knock to his career, maybe a knock to how you view some other things. But to me, again, I want to revisit this in the summer. I think the debate's actually between Jordan and Kareem, and I've always thought that. And I think LeBron, hey, you want to put him on the Mount Rushmore? No problem. Okay. But to me, it's always been Jordan, Kareem, and then LeBron's kind of knocking on the door. And I think the biggest thing isn't even that he lost 6 NBA finals or he has 4 championships compared to 6. It's the clutch moments. It's the big games. It's who stepped up. And, he was more of a, I don't want to say unselfish because it makes Jordan sound selfish. He was more, like Jordan was more of an assassin. LeBron was perfectly happy if somebody else was open, letting them take the shot. Some people see that as a plus. Some people see that as a negative. I think the biggest drawback when it comes to LeBron, I don't think the flopping helps, but you look at his 4 titles. I mean, those 2 with Miami. I mean, it's like, so when I argue with my daughter, Addison, right now, she accuses me of card stacking. You ever heard of card stacking? She's like, all you do is load up your side of the argument and ignore everything I say. I'm like, yeah, that's called debating. I'm not going to debate your side for you. But she calls it card stacking. Like that team was stacked. What was it? The 1, 2, and 5 picks in that draft that LeBron and Wade, I could be wrong on the numbers. 1, 3, and 5 were all on the same team. Number 1 overall picks on the same team. And they won 2 titles. I give them credit for winning the title in the bubble. Everybody had to deal with that, and they figured out a way to win. The Lakers did, but a lot of people don't want to give them credit for that. It's the Cavs title that really, some people almost give him like 3 titles worth of credit and 1 title for that, which is fair. But if you look at it, Kyrie still hit the game-winning shot. Is that a knock? I don't know. Is that a knock?
Love was still top 5 player, top 10 player.
I mean, I'm just, you look at Ray Allen hit the game-winning shot. I think it was the 2nd championship at Miami. Some people knock him for that. I don't know. It was just an interesting way of looking at it. Don't want to dive too much more onto it. Unless if people want to text in and give us your brief thoughts. All right, what's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
All right, we will move on to Nebraska football at the top of the hour, but if we do get some textuals on that particular topic, we will respond to them. Don't go anywhere. Oh, and I am convinced the Big 12, like the ACC's hanging on by a thread, not to go backwards like 40 minutes ago in our conversation, but I wrote this down. I almost forgot. Okay, the Big 12, they need to go after Duke. They need to go after UConn. They need to make themselves the number 1 men's basketball conference because no matter what they do, they're going to be number 3 in football at best. You're never going to break into the top 2 with the Big 10 and SEC. Your hope is to be above the ACC. The ACC may very well go away, to be honest with you. So why not try to be number one in men's basketball? What are your thoughts on that? They could have Houston and Kansas and UConn and Duke and other teams that I'm even forgetting there already. Like, what are your thoughts on that? They could be pretty freaking good in men's basketball.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money to be made there. It might not be the football money that you're going to get in the Big Ten and the SEC, but no matter what you do, you're not going to reach that as the Big 12. So I think it's an excellent strategy. Try to take over basketball, and certainly they've already got a great conference. And adding a Duke, adding those teams down the line, UConn, who they're kind of stalled conversations with, could really make it the preeminent basketball conference in the nation.
You know, one other thing I would do if I was a Big 12, since we're way over time in this segment anyways, we'll make it up in the next segment. I would throw everything under God's hot sun at Notre Dame. I would take a big swing at Notre Dame to see if I could get them to join us in football.
Good
and
luck.
Obviously basketball. I know. But I'm just like, Notre Dame clearly thinks they're that program that I could see being like, we don't need the Big Ten. We don't need the SEC. We're going to go. They already do their own thing. But it's kind of like, you know what? You throw a big bag our way. Okay, cool. I could see that happening, mostly because college football makes no sense anyway. So why the heck wouldn't this happen? I don't know. That's the other thing I would do if I was the Big 12. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. When we come back, Husker football updates, Emmet Johnson, Dane Key, press conferences are going on right now. Satterfield, Dvorak. Hopefully we can get some info on that as those are unfolding right now. We'll get to it before the end of the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Hey volleybalfans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Hey, bestie! Whoa, how'd you snag that awesome set of wheels? I'm in the market for a new car, too. My friends at Members Own Credit Union. You're always in the driver's seat when it comes to your finances at Members Own. Always in the driver's seat, huh? Yep. They set you up with a loan that makes sense for your budget with great rates and top-notch customer service to boot. Looks like we're going to need to make a pit stop. Let's go. I'll drive. Hit the road to financial success and explore auto loan options with your best financial friend, Members Own Credit Union. For details, go to membersowncu.org/drive. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Hey, what are you talking about over there? Huh? I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Thanks for letting me stay over while my apartment's getting painted.
No problem. Oh, bagels are done.
Is it supposed to rain today?
Let's find out.
Hey, an entire video screen just came out of your toaster.
There's a 70% chance of rain today.
More things should be built in, like the multiplier in Mega Millions from your Nebraska lottery. It's one of the new enhancements to the game, along with bigger jackpots and better odds.
Should I wear the blue or the green blouse?
Blue. It matches your eyes.
$5 Mega Millions top prize odds, 1 in 290 million.
Make plans to stop by Corn Coast Brewing this Saturday, April 12th, for their Ales Helping Tales event, partnered with Parkview Animal Hospital. This semi-annual fundraiser collects donations and sells raffle tickets to raise money for Vets Get Pets, a program in the Nebraska Department of Veteran Affairs that helps with adoption fees for veterans. A special beer will be brewed, and the first 100 customers who buy the beer will receive a special edition Stadium Cup. That's all this Saturday at Corn Coast Brewing at 14th and Yankee Hill.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies and it will be breezy with the high around 64. Tonight, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly cloudy, a low around 45. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly sunny and breezy with the high near 72. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips it down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to hour 2 of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. As always, check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. Also, your daily friendly reminder to check out the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp. Amon Green, Eric Crouch, Zach Wiegert, yours truly, and one more that I will most assuredly announce next week, along with everybody at LYF, Lincoln Youth Football. They do a phenomenal job. They're going to be bringing in and helping us out with their best coaches as well, K through 8th grade, boys and girls, autographs included, T-shirts included, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., July 9th this summer. Go to CarrikerChronicles.com to learn more about the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully it'll be a heck of an experience for the kids. That is the goal. All right. A little bit of recon here as we dive into some more of football talk this second hour. Now, NIL, if you didn't know, is going to exist this spring, but will end July 1st. Everything over $600 must be reported to be approved. All right. The ref share's waiting to be finalized. Now, the plan is $20.5 million is the cap. Football will get $14.5 million of that $20.5 million. All right. Players will sign contracts. This is big. Players will sign contracts from July to July. They can still enter the portal, but they will sign contracts that go from July to July. Now, there is strong belief Nebraska will be able to afford players without having to do some massive fundraising. 50 to 55 guys on the roster, the 105 will get paid. All right. As far as what will happen with the rest, it's a little bit unclear at this point. Obviously, there's going to be guys on scholarship and whatnot. All right. Let's see. And the notes I'm looking at. So I should say yesterday I was reading notes from Matt Rule's press conference on Saturday, and then without really kind of explaining it, I kind of just immediately crossed over into practice notes from that Saturday as well. And I forgot to say, hey, this is not the press conference anymore reaction. This is the practice notes. Like Tristan Alvano, that wasn't talked about at the press conference when he missed a couple of kicks. That was from actually practice observations. I forgot to specify that yesterday, so I want to make sure I mention that today. All right. And Satterfield just wrapped up his press conference. I got some notes that have been sent to me from one of my guys for that as well. Before we dive into Emmet Johnson, Dane Key, press conference reactions. All right. We'll finalize some of the press conference reactions we had. Practice notes from Saturday. All right, the long snapping and holds looked good. I think I mentioned that yesterday. A lot of the edge rushers are dudes, and they look like absolute freaks. Keep an eye out for David Hofkin, number 53, German kid. Just a naturally gifted guy. He hasn't been talked about much. Okay, and Worry, Keona Davis, physically, Big Ten potential type players. When you watch them in practice, you look at their size, you look at how they move. Okay, and Worry's still learning. From the practice on Saturday, he had to redo a couple of drills. Young guy. The ceiling is absurdly high. All right. Just got to get him to do the basic, fundamental little things. All right. A lot of talented young receivers. Quinn Clark stood out on Saturday. He stood out in this morning's practice as well. This is a guy to keep your eye on, Quinn Clark. All right. There was a few skirmishes here and there in the live team sessions. All right. Not always a terrible thing as long as there aren't too many and they don't get out of control. It's a sign of being aggressive and competitive. You don't want it to go too far because then it turns into a lack of discipline. So it's walking that fine line. Trust me, when Osborne was the coach, down in the old pit, which is where the linemen used to get down nasty and do their work. All right, the O-line, the D-line, we do individual drills, then we do one-on-ones against each other, and we make each other better. And it also helps you a little bit. You were a little bit isolated in there. Nobody could really see you. There was no media. There were no other coaches. It was just the O-line, D-line. There was a skirmish or two. Just a couple thousand over the years, I would imagine. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Quarterbacks look good. All right. Marcos Davia's got to continue to work on his presence within the pocket. Running backs look good. Even the young guys, the athleticism of this team has improved. The fluidity with which guys move around, the speed, the explosiveness, the athleticism has been stepped up a notch. All right. The one thing that was noted here, wide receivers are blocking on the perimeters. It's a noticeable improvement. All blocking is effort, right? Which allows for screen passes to work. That dirty S word. Screen passes to work. Swing passes as well. Keep blocking on swing passes. It was noted the O-line looked really good. Looked like Justin Evans would play center if the season started today. Tyler Knock, number 75, was playing at right tackle a decent amount. All right. There was some offsides by the defense. A field goal got blocked. Actually, there was 4 of them. All right, Pritchett had a false start, but overall seemed to be doing pretty good. His size has been noted. I was chatting with Jake and Terrell Farley in between the break. Pritchett he's a big dude. He's big dude. We need more guys like that. Grant Bricks getting some reps at right tackle. I'm curious to see, does he get some playing time out there at the tackle position? Brought in as a guard, but he can move well. See what he can do at the offensive tackle position. All right, it was noted. I'm just going to read this direct quote as it was texted to me. And I quote, Harburg might be one of the most well-rounded players I've ever seen. End quote. Dane Key looks solid. All right, Elijah Judy, I believe he was mentioned that he was 298 or 302, so he's about 300 pounds, a little bit over. There are 4 players currently with single digits. I don't know if that means anything right now. Does it mean anything if a player has single digits in spring, Jake? Do you know?
I'm not sure. No, I'm still going to track that. I don't think so.
I don't think it means a lot until the fall. All right, but Shavers, Marquise Buford Jr., Hartzog, and Deshaun Singleton have single-digit numbers right now. Dylan definitely looks slimmer. I'm just going to read this as it was texted to me, and I quote, lost some of his baby fat, end quote. So we kind of knew that, lost 9 to 10 pounds. I'm curious to see if he loses any more, tries to get a little bit slimmer. I think a good weight for him is somewhere between not below 220. Don't get too light now, but 220 to 230. What do you think? What do you think is a good weight for him based on his frame, his ability to move, the needed upgrade in his footwork that needs to happen? What do you think is a good playing weight for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right. 220, 225. enough to be mobile, but you still, there's a benefit to being hard to bring down too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got I wouldn't say he was there with that either. But that could be something that a bigger frame can help with.
Yeah, like 220, I wouldn't go below 220. I wouldn't go over 230. I know Rule was mad when the 240 number was thrown out by him. By the way, he threw it out and then he got mad at the media for talking about it, but that was a few weeks ago, so I'll let that go. But my point is simply 225 might be like a perfect number for Dylan if he could just hang in right in that area. All right. It was noted that Coach Braden and Eckler both have great coaching styles, high standards, high energy. You almost need coaches that complement each other. You kind of need that quiet, more teacher type, and then you need that high energy guy to come in. If they're all quiet, that's not going to work. If everybody's bouncing off the walls with a ton of energy, it's almost too much. It's not going to work. So you need coaches that kind of complement each other. And if you watch Nebraska's coaching staff, they've got that good complementary coaching styles within the coaching staff as it currently exists. All right. Anything stick out to you from everything I just went through as far as practice observations and final thoughts on Matt Rule's press conference from Saturday there, Jake?
No, it seems to be coming along well for the Huskers. I wouldn't say anything necessarily stands out. We're still kind of picking apart information. But no, I mean, I think with Rule spoke on a pretty good tone. I think it was kind of interesting that he said, and just kind of breaking into that coaching thing, is that he feels more comfortable. He feels bored even at a certain time because there's enough coaches, and he feels like they're all kind of expert at their positions. And so that's good news. But it also kind of reminds you, like, why wasn't that always the case, right? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't that be the case or the goal for original staff? So kind of interesting. They're kind of learning as they go as well. But it seems to be moving in the right direction.
Well, to your point, in fairness to him, there was a limit of 10 assistant coaches not that long ago. So you had to do more as the head coach. Now there's no limit. You could have 4 or 40 billion, whatever you want to have. And so what happened at Ohio State last offseason was they hired all these different guys. A former head coach to be their defensive coordinator, a former head coach to be their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly. And now Chip's with the Raiders, highest paid OC in the NFL, making $6 million a year. But basically Ryan Day said he turned into basically a fundraiser. And then they were able to, it wasn't that they signed 1 million new guys out of the portal. Yes, they signed the Ole Miss running back, who was the top running back in the SEC. And then they signed Caleb Downs, probably the top defensive player in the country from Alabama. And then they signed Alabama center. Beyond those three, I mean, we signed way more than that. And I know they signed more than that, but we had way more transfer portal guys start for us last year, just not quite the impact of those three particular individuals. Caleb Downs, top defensive player in America going into this season, the center from Alabama, a guy who has struggled to snap the year before. If you remember that Michigan Rose Bowl game, that was him. The struggle to snap, won the Remington. Okay, so when they bring in somebody, it's a quality guy. We need to have more effectiveness like that. They didn't bring in as many. What they spent their money on was retaining their roster. That was what they spent their money on. And Will Howard. So 4. They spent their money on retaining their roster. They had 8 returning starters. A majority of whom could have been drafted by the NFL, come back on defense. All right, they retained a lot of their offensive weapons. That was when I said, hey, this team may be a little bit more talented, or this team may be this or that going into last season, but Ohio State's got the best roster. That's kind of what I was referring to. Being able to retain guys, have that camaraderie, that chemistry, everything already built in. It's much easier to get better when everything around you isn't constantly changing. So hopefully Rule, I don't know if he needs to become a fundraiser particularly. That's what Ryan Day said in an interview. He said I became a fundraiser in the offseason. But if we can bring in guys that make an impact for us, and then we can retain them, and they just get better at a faster, more increased rate, otherwise known as developing players, which we've not done here successfully for quite a while, not consistently at all, that would be huge for Nebraska football. All right, a couple of final thoughts before we head to break. Coach Booth, okay, who's no longer the Creighton head volleyball coach, she clarified a couple things, okay? She wasn't forced out, not sick. She isn't retiring. She is joining League One volleyball. I love volleyball. On the administration side to work to make professional volleyball more accessible to more young women and girls. All right. Oh, a bunch of people think that Florida should now play Nebraska because we won the crown. They won the NCAA tournament. Any quick thoughts on that, Jake?
Sure. Give more Nebraska an opportunity, but I don't think so.
Yeah, sounds great in theory. All right, a couple of recruiting updates. The Huskers, as I mentioned a couple of times here, they've been targeting, all right, highly sought after 4-star 2027 quarterback Trey Taylor. He's going to announce his commitment on May 1st. Do you put a lot of stock into this? I mean, May 1st, that's exciting. If he commits to Nebraska, that's a big deal. Does it really matter? He could switch 24 times and then transfer 82. Well, there is some parameters coming in college football, but he could switch his commitment, then he could transfer. I mean, how much stock do you put into stuff like this now?
Not as much, not nearly as much as before, but I mean, it's better to have him on the commit list than not. I'll put it that way, but it's not something I'm going, oh yeah, now I'm looking forward to 2029.
The Iowa commit in basketball, what's his name again? That just hit the transfer portals coming to Nebraska.
Peyton Stanford.
He's an example because Kent Pavelka talked about, hey, they tried to get him out of high school, but that's an example where if it doesn't go well out of high school, you build a great rapport and relationship with somebody in this day and age, they might hit the portal, boom, then you get them. So you never want to burn a bridge, I guess. All right, the Huskers are also in for a top 6. Here we go, 4-star Navy All-American wide receiver Jaden Warren out of Texas. He's down in Nebraska, Texas A&M, TCU, Oklahoma, SMU, and Houston. This is interesting. Iowa State. All right. They've just added Lincoln North Star defensive back Tyrell Chapman as a commit or a recruit. 5. Iowa State now has 5 Nebraska high school players that are going to be going to play for the Cyclones. Has that ever happened before? With not just Iowa State, but any Power 4 school coming into Nebraska and getting 5 high school players from here. And is this a thing we should be concerned about?
It's fascinating. I'll put it that way. So they're ranked. Their class right now is ranked 20th according to 24/7. 5 of their 11 commitments are from Nebraska, and they're favored to get Jet Tamala. So it could be 6. So it is. I mean, especially just kind of think about where Iowa State was as a program and Nebraska was at the top. You'd have told somebody back then, hey, 30 years from now, Iowa State's going to pick out 6 of the top 10 players in Nebraska. You would have lost your mind.
And they're on pace for a top 20 class with the majority of Nebraska kids. I don't know that, like, I'm not like slamming what we're doing recruiting wise, but I'm not going to bury my head either and just say, hey, this doesn't matter. No, I'm going to keep my eye on this because this is interesting. And how is this going to play out? All right. Update on overall summer visits from recruits. So we got a couple of 4-stars here. Cornerback CJ Bronow. All right. Wide receiver Jabari Brady. They'll be coming in June. Some 3-stars, linebacker, offensive lineman, Kason Thomas, Matali Benjamin, Rex Waterman, also coming in June, early part of June. June 6th, June 13th will be Titan Davis, Nasir Rankin, Deacon Smith, Dominic Turnbull, Moses Sparks, Jamal Rule, Jace Reynolds, and several of those guys are 4-stars, and the rest are 3-stars. June 20th, 4-star athlete Ryan Mosley, dude's an athlete too, is going to be making an appearance in Lincoln. DeZephan Walker, Camden Jensen, Danny Odom, Lincoln Watkins, Luke Sorensen, and Dayton Raiola. So a quarterback, tight end, cornerback, tight end, running back, athlete will be visiting on June 20th. All right. And Nebraska is out on this particular individual. Nebraska is no longer scheduled to get an official visit from in-state tight end Isaac Jensen. All right, the Huskers were expected to have him on campus June 13th. He'll go to Florida State that weekend instead. And his final 4 schools are Iowa State, Missouri, Florida State, A&M. They could end up with 7 Nebraska players. And the last couple that they're looking at are like 4-star type players. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. Another practice note before we dive into Emmet Johnson and a little bit more Dane Key type updates after the break. One final practice note. There's a picture out there. I think Mitch Sherman took it. Potentially the top 4 wide receivers, Isaiah Hunter, Janiran Bonner, Ja'Cory Barney, and Dane Key. He also notes as a pair of true freshmen, a redshirt freshman that appear to be in contention as well. I got to imagine Cortez Mills is part of that, Demetrius Bell. How would you feel if the top 4 wide receivers were, in no particular order, Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney, and Janiran Bonner? I don't think the first 3 are going to surprise anybody. It's kind of who that 4th is. What would your thoughts be if those were the top 4 wide receivers, Jake?
Like you said, I'd be happy with it, and then be interested in the strides that Bonner takes to take that 4th spot. But that's kind of the competition is for that 4th spot. Those other guys are proven at this level. So the expectation is to continue and build off of that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We shall return.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Make plans to stop by Corn Coast Brewing this Saturday, April 12th, for their Ales Helping Tales event, partnered with Parkview Animal Hospital. This semi-annual fundraiser collects donations and sells raffle tickets to raise money for Vets Get Pets, a program in the Nebraska Department of Veteran Affairs that helps with adoption fees for veterans. A special beer will be brewed, and the first 100 customers who buy the beer will receive a special edition Stadium Cup. That's all this Saturday at Corn Coast Brewing at 14th and Yankee Hill. Spring sports are here, and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Thanks for letting me stay over while my apartment's getting painted.
No problem. Oh, bagels are done.
Is it supposed to rain today?
Let's find out.
Hey, an entire video screen just came out of your toaster.
There's a 70% chance of rain today.
More things should be built in, like the multiplier in Mega Millions from your Nebraska lottery. It's one of the new enhancements to the game, along with bigger jackpots and better odds.
Should I wear the blue or the green blouse?
Blue. It matches your eyes.
$5 Mega Millions top prize odds, 1 in 290 million.
Spring is the time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table. Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown's Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular priced athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Brown's carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln. Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Thanks for letting me stay over while my apartment's getting painted.
No problem. Oh, bagels are done.
Is it supposed to rain today?
Let's find out.
Hey, an entire video screen just came out of your toaster.
There's a 70% chance of rain today.
More things should be built in, like the multiplier in Mega Millions from your Nebraska lottery. It's one of the new enhancements to the game, along with bigger jackpots and better odds.
Should I wear the blue or the green blouse?
Blue. It matches your eyes.
$5 Mega Millions top prize odds 1 in 290 million.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend. They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second to last segment, or if you want to look at it, the second segment of hour 2 here on the Adam Carriker Show. So there's this picture of a tattoo going around. I think it's AI because nobody can seriously get this tattoo of the Nebraska Huskers crowned 2025 tournament champions. All right. Do you think it's real? And would you ever get a tattoo like that?
No, I don't think it's real. And I always argue with tattoos, like especially tattoos like that. If it's your only tattoo, then it's ridiculous. But if you have like 15 tattoos, what's another silly tattoo?
You'd be like CM Punk, get covered in head to toe in tattoos, and then throw out a random Pepsi.
Yeah, not a big
Pepsi
deal.
logo. Okay, all right. The worst tattoo I've ever seen. I was talking with T during the break, Terrell Farley. I think it was like Alabama and Clemson played each other 3 times in the college football playoff. It was one of the 2 times they played for the national title. It was the year Deshaun Watson. Well, Clemson played them 3 times for the national title, beat them twice. Once with Trevor Lawrence, once with Deshaun Watson. I believe it was the year 2015. I could be wrong. That Deshaun Watson led them to the title, the national title over Alabama. Would have been 16, I think. Anyways, and a guy got the tattoo on his arm. Alabama 2016 national champions before the game, and then Clemson won the game. That's the worst tattoo I've ever seen in my life. If this crown thing is real, that's a very close number 2. All right. And there are rumors and innuendos going around that the Nuggets may have fired Michael Malone, their head coach. And that is interesting if it is confirmed to be true because they just won an NBA championship 2 years ago. How insane would that be from being a world champ to being unemployed? Honestly, less than 2 years. All right, probably about 18 to 20 months, if that is indeed true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Adam Carriker Show. As always, check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com, also on YouTube, podcast platforms, the Twitters, Sphere, and Facebook, and where else? Amazon Prime is pretty much every freaking where. Or you can just turn on your radio dial 93.7. All right, who do you want to talk about first, Dane Key or Emmet Johnson? Jake, you choose.
Let's start with Emmet Johnson.
All right. So, when you look at a guy like Emmet Johnson, talked about it last year, should have been the starter, yada, yada, goes in the transfer portal, comes back. All right, Emmet Johnson played in all 13 games. There was one game where he only got 1 carry, so I guess that technically counts. But he played in all 13 games last year with 5 starts. He ranked second on the team with 117 carries, 598 rush yards, and led Nebraska with 908 all-purpose yards. All right, he added 39 catches for 286 yards. By the way, did you know, even with his limited play count that he had last year, that's 4th most all-time amongst running backs in a single Nebraska season as far as receptions. I thought that was crazy. And 2 touchdowns, setting career highs in each of those categories. His 39 receptions was the most by a Husker running back since 2007, 4th all-time in history. All right. A lot of folks have been high on Emmet Johnson for quite a while. Again, he was the 4th-string running back going into his freshman season. The top 3 guys all get hurt. He comes in. What's he do? He just plays well. Okay. Dana Holgorsen really is kind of the guys we know that came in. When he became the OC, all of a sudden Emmet started getting more reps, got some starts. Okay. Consider of Emmet Johnson, 598 total rushing yards on the year, 314, 52.5% were accumulated after Holgorsen took the reins as the offensive coordinator. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that specifically, but it did feel like it got quite an uptick.
52%. He was only the OC for 4 games. That's crazy out of 13. It's not even 33% of the games, yet 52% of his percentage of his rushing yards came after Holgorsen became the offensive coordinator.
Always remember, he didn't get a carry against Illinois. Game Nebraska lost.
That's not a dagger. It's just like bordering on the edge of a dagger, though. Over the same period, Johnson brought in 23 of his 39 receptions. So 59% of his receptions came after Holgorsen became the OC as well. All right, logged 170 of his 286 receiving yards, 59%, and scored 2 of his 3 touchdowns during the same time period as well. When you look at this upcoming season, Emmet, you can tell he's got a confidence about him. He's got a bounce in his step. He used the W word. He's like, I don't see myself as a running back. I see myself as a weapon. And I love that. I love that. It's absolutely phenomenal. It means I can do several different things. Because some running backs might describe themselves as I'm really fast, or I'm a power back. I'm going to run you over. Like a weapon can do a lot of things. And that's how I see him. I see him as a guy that can get physical, a guy that can make people miss. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He can run the ball, okay, in between the tackles as well. Is he elite at any one thing? No. Is he really good at all those things? Yes. And that's one of the things that I've always liked about him. Like Dante Dowdell in short yardage situations, he was better in short yardage situations. He was not the better overall back. Talked about that numerous times in the past when he was starting over Emmet, and I'm like, what's going on? But what Emmet can bring to the table, because he also is pretty good in blitz pickup. That's something that rarely gets talked about when it comes to running backs. Like, if you watched him in practice on Saturday, he looked good. Now, he looked like a number 1 running back. Now, the question is he an all-conference type running back? He's the starter. He's a clear-cut starter. As long as he earns it. Got to continue to earn it. Can't get lazy. He's a clear-cut starter. Is he an all Big Ten type back? Can he give us that type of production? Can the offense move the ball in such a manner that it hasn't done so in quite a while, that we can have players that give us that kind of production, whether it's Dane Key or Emmet Johnson? Matt Rule talked about a lot of faith in Quentin Ives. This is a guy he's talked about at press conferences going back for 1.5 to 2 years now. And Mekhi Nelson has dynamic speed. So they love their top 3 backs. And then they got 2 young freshmen that are coming in that are very talented in their own right. When you watch Emmet, he looks like that all-around back. That if you need to give him a break, you can. If you don't want him to get beat up throughout an incredibly long season, you got guys back there that can rotate, that can keep him fresh. If he gets banged up, they can go in. But he looks like that clear-cut number 1 all-around back when you watch him in practice, a guy who's ready to take on that number 1 role. My question for Emmet, a guy that I love off the field, a guy that I love on the field, my question for him is, can he be an all Big Ten type performer? What you see in practice, and this is where I kind of go, all right, how well are we going to be able to throw the ball? How well is the offensive line going to be able to block? And it was noted on practice at on Saturday and this morning that the offensive line looked good. So hopefully that continues. Now, if the offensive line looks good in practice going against our defense, does that mean the defensive line doesn't look good? Because that's always the question. Is it an even back and forth battle and both sides look good because they're fighting, scratching, clawing? Or is one side clearly winning over the other? I'll have to pay more attention to that next time. But those are my thoughts and update on Emmet Johnson. What are your thoughts there, Jake, before we move on? Probably to a commercial break and then Dane Key.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we're all looking at him as that running back, the proven running back. But you're right. I mean, I think a lot of it is going to be the damage he does out of the backfield. Especially, we'll see if there's an uptick in passing from this offense as opposed to last year. So, I mean, he's got to be a big time player. Like you said, kind of that next step is, can he be that Big Ten, all Big Ten type of running back, which is definitely a huge step. But I think we saw at times he could be that guy, especially if he can sneak out of the backfield and get some yardage that way. Another thing they're going to have to do is stop robbing him of his touchdowns. Remember, his stats don't look as good because he'd run it down to the 2 yard line, whatever. I think maybe 4 or 5 times, and then they'd put in a bigger back to go and he's a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dowdell was like number 3 in the Big Ten in rushing touchdowns, or 4. But to your point, I mean, again, I'm not trying to bash Dante Dowdell. I wish him the best of luck at Kentucky. But you make a fair point. He had all these touchdowns, but I don't know if he always, was the main guy getting us down there, so to speak. And I bring up all Big Ten with Emmet Johnson because if we're going to pay attention to the J word, jump, year 3 jump, then we need an all Big Ten type performer out of the backfield, which is partially going to rely on the offensive line. How well can we throw the ball? Is Dylan Raiola an all Big Ten type performer? All I've ever said, first, second, third team, or honorable mention. That's it. I didn't say it had to be first or All-American, just Are you an all Big Ten type performer? All Big Ten type performers, first, second, third team, or honorable mention. Can you be those things? Dylan Raiola, Emmet Johnson. I can't wait to watch and see how it unfolds. Let's talk about Dane Key when we come back after the break, because that's another guy. He could be playing in the NFL right now. He's a guy who would have been drafted. Can he be an all Big Ten type performer? All right, we'll come back. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for letting me stay over while my apartment's getting painted.
No problem. Oh, bagels are done.
Is it supposed to rain today?
Let's find out.
Hey, an entire video screen just came out of your toaster.
There's a 70% chance of rain today.
More things should be built in, like the multiplier in Mega Millions from your Nebraska lottery. It's one of the new enhancements to the game, along with bigger jackpots and better odds.
Should I wear the blue or the green blouse?
Blue. It matches your eyes.
$5 Mega Millions top prize odds, 1 in 290 million.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Your new Total Wine in Lincoln has the largest selection of wines, spirits, and beers, plus totally low prices and friendly service from our helpful guides. With over 8,000 wines, 4,500 spirits, and 2,500 beers, you're sure to find your favorites and something new. You can even order delivery, in-store, or curbside pickup. Find what you love what you find, only at Total Wine and More. Now open in Lincoln next to Gateway Mall.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus. Garage doors and more.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown's Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular priced athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Brown's carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins'. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. All right. Let's talk a little bit of, well, first of all, the press conferences. I do have the notes. Not enough time to go through them. So we will do that on Thursday. Marcus Satterfield actually had some very intriguing things to say. I found it very, very interesting. Heinrich Harburg spoke as well, and Dvorak. So a lot of things we're going to cover press conference-wise come a Thursday. As always, check out CharacterChronicles.com. It's where your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science. All right, Dane Key. This is an individual who played 3 seasons at Kentucky before transferring to Nebraska in his 3 years as a Wildcat. He played in 38 games, 35 starts, caught 126 passes, 1,870 yards, 14 touchdowns. At the conclusion of his career, he ranked 5th all-time on Kentucky's all-time receptions list and 13th in career receiving yards. After losing guys like Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nayor, the wide receiver room really is wide open, as we know. Okay. And we need some people to step up, whether it's Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney, Janier Bonner, Cortez Mills, other guys, Demetrius Bell. Okay. Now, when Key got here, he spoke about his strong relationships with new wide receivers coach, Dekel Shorts. Okay. And that was developed over the course of just really their one season together that they had there at Kentucky. But they bonded quickly. All right. He's a major reason, along with Dylan Raiola's talent. He talked about Dylan Raiola's arm talent and his ability when he first got here as well. The one thing that he talked about, another thing that he talked about, was how talented Dylan Raiola is, and how Dylan Raiola is one of the main reasons he decided to transfer to Nebraska as well. All right. I don't think it's a small thing. I don't think it'd be overlooked. The relationship between the guy throwing the ball and the guys catching the ball is very, very important. The ability to anticipate things, especially when you got option routes and routes where you might break into a post, settle down on a hitch in a zone, find the open spot in the zone, whatever the case may be. Guys got to be on the same page. And part of that, you don't have to love each other off the field, but there's got to be some sort of a camaraderie to a certain degree at least. And it sounds like Dylan's a major reason he came here along with D Shorts. Now, he's looked good in practice so far, because this is another guy that I'm looking at. We got certain guys. I'm like, hey, can you be an all Big Ten type performer? Again, I'm not saying they got to be first team or an All-American, but are you like a guy who can be first team, all Big Ten, honorable mention, something like that? We need a guy running the ball, a guy throwing the ball, a guy catching the ball to be at least be in that conversation. It'd be really nice if we had some guys in the trenches as well. All right, so for me, when you watch Dane, he looks at how you'd expect him to look. A guy who's done this before, a guy with some natural physical talents, a guy who's experienced, and a guy who looks good in practice. It's hard to get a gauge on certain things in practice, but what you see from him is kind of what you'd expect at this point, and that's very encouraging. All right, hopefully the relationship between him and Raiola continues to develop, and they can start to anticipate what each other is going to do before it even happens. Especially as you face some of these blitzes that these coordinators are going to throw at you. You don't know where guys are coming from, where they're dropping, whether they're coming, whether they're dropping, what they're doing, who's blitzing, who's not, man blitz, zone blitz. Is it a match zone? What is it? Cover 2, cover 3, quarters? A lot of times half the field will be man, half the field will be zone. It just depends on the defensive call versus the offensive alignment. And so these are things you got to get on the same page with the quarterback sooner rather than later. They're off to a very, very good start. That's my take on this so far. That's the update that I've got on him. Off to a very, very, very good start. Any quick thoughts there, Jake?
Well, it's just interesting to see because since 2020, Nebraska has had a rental, a one-year player come in and lead Nebraska in receiving yardage from that wide receiver position. And certainly we could see that with Dane Key here. But Isaiah Hunter's going to be fighting for that. Ja'Cory Barney could take a step up. So, Hunter would still fall into the transfer category, obviously. But so it's going to be interesting to see if that plays out. But like you said, this is a guy that could have, taken this ball and given it a shot at the NFL. So to be able to get a player of that caliber, we talk about the guys in the portal and maybe don't get too excited because some of them aren't going to live up to the hype. This is one that you expect to at least kind of to meet what he did at Kentucky.
There's certain guys going into this season, like I expect certain things. You're hopeful. And then there's other guys, there's question marks around them. What are you actually going to get? Like with Dylan Raiola, I expect improvement. With Emmet Johnson, I expect certain things. Dane Key, I expect certain things. And Isaiah Hunter has that ability too. He's a little bit younger. Hasn't done it for as many consecutive seasons. He's only going to be a sophomore this year. Whereas I believe Key's a senior. But he's a guy who could emerge as our number one receiver. There's a few more question marks, but I do expect good things. When I look at Dane Key, I'm a little bit more solidified in what I expect out of him. Ja'Cory Barney is a guy who could just blow the roof off the joint this year. Maybe he could emerge as our number one receiver. Maybe he's number 3. The tackle position's my biggest question marks. Talked about that before. But when I look at a guy like Dane Key and I look at a guy like Emmet Johnson, I'm like, I expect you to be good players that are contributors. Now the question is, can you get into that next level of conversation, being an all Big Ten type performer? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, did we ever get any texts on Jordan LeBron? No?
There's somebody that wanted Kobe to be included, and somebody that said, I am a Lakers fan, and I also hate LeBron. So, a little bit there.
So, okay, we got to go. We'll dive more into this in the summer. My immediate Mount Rushmore, all right? Jordan, Kareem. Those are the 2 that are in the GOAT debate for me. The next 3, and I have a hard time narrowing it down to 4, Kobe, LeBron, Magic. And I've seen some stats. There are some things that Larry Bird, statistically, is way ahead of LeBron at, by the way, in case people are wondering about that, because they both play small forward. I know LeBron can move all over the place. I would give LeBron the edge because of what he can do rebounding and defensive-wise over Bird. But offensively, I'd give Bird the slight edge. But to me, the next 3, in no particular order, are LeBron, Kobe, Magic. Quickly, who would you have? Then we'll get out of here.
I think Wilt deserves to be in that conversation. So I'd put LeBron in no order. Michael Jordan, LeBron, Wilt. Shaq was one of the most dominant if you had a short period of stretch, but I think altogether, I'd have to think about it, but probably Magic in there as well.
Bill Russell had 11 rings and he beat Wilt several times for them. You don't have him in the conversation?
He had a really great team around him.
11. A fair point about Shaq. The reason he's not in there, if you're going to look that bad shooting free throws, my God, you better score 100 points a game. I'm just saying. Like, he was dominant, don't get me wrong, but how do you look that bad? That bad shooting free throws? I'll never understand it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's still one of the all-time greats and everything else. Go Big Red, and always remember to throw the bombs.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth.